There we go. All right. Hello, everybody. Happy to have a good group going here. It'll be nice to actually have, I think, what do we have? 8 here, because there's 3 of us here from Edpuzzle, and that means we can provide you all the support you need. There are a couple of us here today. Only one has her photo up here, though. This is Jess. Say hello, Jess. She is your school partnerships manager. So she works with your school on your licensing and renewal and just making sure everybody is up and running. Sarah is your school success manager. So she's been working with your district for about the last year now, just supplying Jen with like usage information and all that wonderful stuff to make sure that you guys have the best success you possibly can with Edpuzzle. Sarah also just brought in Nick as well, who's here with us today, to get to know some folks. So, and I'm Kyleigh. Hi. I am the regional manager here at Edpuzzle. So I've been working with your district and lots of others in California. We were just talking about how you guys, California Ski Week, and how this, thing has popped up in the last really few years. And how you guys have that extended break instead, which I think is marvelous. I would love to have that in my local district. I'm up in the Bay Area. Jess, do you want to share where you are?
Yep, I'm in Denver, Colorado. They're not too far, but not in the state of California.
Colder than here, though. Colder than Salinas.
Colder than you. Oh, yes.
Nick, how about you?
I am up in Reno, Nevada.
Also cold.
Also cold. A little too cold.
All right. So I mentioned that today we are going to be doing a few different things here. So our deep dive is going to be looking at a lot of our new features and updates. So just shared in the Slam, we're talking about quizzes, we're talking about slides. We'll be able to go into that. And that is going to be done via live mode. Which is an existing feature that recently got some updates. So we're really excited to share. You will see it on my screen in teacher mode, and then I asked you to log out of Edpuzzle, so you will be able to log in and see it as a student. A lot of fun things there. We've got new gamification aspects that we've put into live mode and into slides. So we're not watching a video today. We're going to go through a little slide deck. And we'll be able to run through that together and see our leaderboard function in action as well, which will be fun. So we're going to go over the quizzes, slides, and AI enhancements as part of that. And then we are going to go, and a little sneak peek here that you saw earlier in the Slam as well. We are going to go over the 3 pillars of UDL and how different ways of using Edpuzzle can fit into each. So a lot to go over. I highly recommend grabbing our bit.ly here because you will be able to access this slide deck as well. This is also in the sheet that's been shared by Amber and Jen. So you can grab that really anytime, but we've got a billion links in here. So you might want to take your time with. We'll go over some today, but we'll probably run out of time before we can go over all of them. So I am going to hop into our live mode and let me, just grab that link for you. All right, so here is my assignment. I have made you guys an open class here. Our Winter EdTech Slam. Now, before I really dive in, if we can all just use the emoji function, thumbs up if you're familiar with Edpuzzle and you've used it before, thumbs down if you haven't. All right, cool. So it looks like this page should be very familiar to everybody and what this looks like. An open class is probably not what you're typically using. You guys are Google Classroom district, so you have those beautiful Google Classroom embedded classes, makes everything so much easier. An open class is a function you can use if you want to share something that won't require a login, where you don't need to necessarily gather usage or who watched the video, who didn't. I love using it to share with parents. Thank you, Jess. So if you just want to put out some updates in general to parents, if you want to say science teachers, you want to have lab rules in there, This is a great way to share that out because you don't necessarily need to track or log who watched it. Just get that information out there and make it available for everybody to rewatch as needed too. So this assignment is showing up under graded and completed because Jess and I were playing around with it earlier today. I am going to put this link. I'm going to put that link right in here, Sonia, so you guys can all access this assignment. So as long as you are logged out of Edpuzzle, go to this link. You will be prompted to enter a name. I am going to hit live mode here. And we'll be able to see as folks join. So while you're doing that, do we have anybody in here who's used live mode before? Thumbs up, thumbs down. I see Sonia shaking your head no. Thumbs up. Okay, great. So we got about half and half, but a few more that haven't. This is an amazing function. So you can take any video, slide deck, quiz, and put it up in front of the class. So all eyes are in one place, but the questions will pop up on students' devices. So you guys will see that in action today. This is using our new slide function. So previously we've had this available for video. Is this like Pear Deck? It does not quite function, but sort of overlap in that you are putting all eyes in one spot, right? Pear Deck, usually a slide deck. This is our new slide deck functionality. Ours works via Google Drive or PDFs, and it embeds questions throughout. So while Pear Deck is more functionality within individual slides, ours is more our well-beloved quiz functionality built into a slide deck. So I'm going to get started. We have got, looks like everybody, I think. Again, a little bit of overlap there with Kahoot, Sonia, in that you can do those quick checks. And we do have that leaderboard function that's new to us as well. But you can, with Edpuzzle, also chain, and we'll get into this later, but you can chain assignments together as well. So with live mode, that's where you see more of that Kahoot overlap because you are putting it up in front of everybody. This can also be assigned out to students for them to do in their own time. Really great way to do review, actually. And you can set a time limit, turn off a time limit. We have a time limit on these. So on each of these questions, as they pop up on your side, you are going to see a timer at the very top. I believe all of these are set to 40 seconds, except for the open-ended question at the end, where you'll have 1.5 minutes. All right, everybody ready to start? Feeling good? All right. So 3, 2, 1, let's get into it. Welcome, welcome. We are making learning interactive today. We are going to deep dive into those UDL framework later. For now, we are going to give a good intro, since everybody's familiar with the platform, to what is new for 2025 and 2026. So slides, we're all getting to know that right here, right now. You can take PDFs and upload them now into Edpuzzle. And I can show you what that looks like in the platform once we've gone through this assignment first. So you can make those, add a bunch of different slide decks together as well. So I mentioned earlier, great for review because you can take pieces from what you've been working on all year, put it together, and you can add all sorts of questions into it. So of course we've got multiple choice. Of course we've got open-ended available. We have notes, and we have all those beautiful audio functions that we added last year too. So you can have students respond via their voice. You can also embed your own voice asking those questions. So a really great new way to share this information, because you can have these slide decks, you can create a review. Not quite yet, Sonia. You'll see that at the end. Also, can everybody see this? Everybody is on this slide too, right? We're all looking good? Okay. Where was I? You can, introduce new material and review new material via slides very, very easily. And also it's really great for like quick check-ins with students as well. And upcoming, we've got a lot of new question types as well. We only just learned about this, so I'm sure I'd get in trouble if my people knew I was mentioning it, but keep an eye out. Quizzes is also new. So we're taking that same functionality we have had for videos and parsing it out just for individual quizzes and adding those gamification aspects to it. So you're going to see some of that today. The leaderboard functionality is available in quizzes. The timer function is available in quizzes. I love this for like entry and exit tickets, doing really quick temp checks in the classroom, and of course, as you normally would with an individual quiz. So at the end of a class, you can see kind of where everybody's heads are at, and how well they are understanding the new concepts introduced in class. You can also group assignments. So I already kind of mentioned this, spoiler alert, earlier, but you can chain together multiple assignments too. This is a brand new function. Now that we have all of these new assignment types, you can add them together to create a lesson. You can lock it, so they have to watch it in a particular order or interact with it in a particular order, or you can just lump a few concepts together, either quizzes, slides, videos, so that they're introduced at the same time, but in no particular order. Students really love that choose your own adventure aspect of it. And it's a good way of not only introducing new things, but organizing them for students as well. So when they go back to review, they're able to see what was part of a certain concept rather than going by due dates. So previously we were calling it playlists when it was exclusively video, and now that's available for slides and quizzes, and we are calling them grouped assignments because it is a great way to introduce one concept through different media types. And for student attention, which we are always trying to grab, right, is the leaderboard that I mentioned, and you're going to see in action soon, and student video projects. So student videos have been a little hidden feature, and they were just completely overhauled, robustified for this school year. So students can create their own lessons. It's essentially a flip of the Edpuzzle that we know and love today. Instead of you, the teacher, creating and sharing a video, you are creating an assignment where your student would have access to either YouTube or uploading their own content, your choice entirely when you create the assignment, and making a video for you. I love this for year-end review because students can each grab a different subject matter from over the course of the year, create a video. You can take that and assign it back out to class. It's students teaching students. They love the engagement. They love that new aspect of it as well. And I gotta say, 5 out of 10 kids you ask these days, they want to be a YouTube star. They just love the idea of making their own videos. So why not use that to your advantage in class? All right, we have our first question. It is a multiple choice. Which of these features are new or updated on Edpuzzle this year? And you should be seeing all of those on your end. I'm going to let it run out just to make sure everybody has plenty of time. 3, 2, 1. All right. And it's all of them. Learning playlists, slides, quizzes, student projects. That was a little bit of a cheat because I think I said all of them were new in the presentation, but everything is new, and that has either been totally overhauled or is a brand new introduction to the platform this year. Here's a neat function of live mode. You can show responses, which is a great way of prompting discussion in class. So if I were to show responses, you could see where your answers were as well. And if I hit continue, we've got our leaderboard. Sorry. I did try to remove Jess and I, but it wasn't working for us. So Eva, you were leading the pack here.
I didn't see choices on, was it on the yellow screen, or do I need to go to the to the Edpuzzle page?
This would have been popping up on your screen. Jess?
No.
I'll put the link in the chat again for the open class that we're in. If you click on that open class, and as long as you're logged in as a student, you should be able to go ahead and join this live mode. So I just dropped that link again so more people can join.
how have we already gone through 20 minutes? I'm going to try to speed this up, guys. I'm sorry. We've got so much to do. But also keep in mind our sandbox. It's going to be the same slide deck. We're going over a lot of the same things, so we should have time. All right. So let's take a deeper look at Edpuzzle slides. You guys are a Google district. Fantastic. So Google Slides will work on this. Also, any PDF. All you have to do is hit the slide button after you hit Add New. So Add New has all of those fun new features in there, including student projects. And you can either upload your PDF from your own device or you can import it from Google Drive. And everybody here should be logging in with Google, so that's already connected. It'll pop right open and you'll be able to pick which one you want. And quizzes. Quizzes is, let me see, also listed there under Add New. So whenever you hit that button, you're going to find everything you possibly need. Video is going to show you where you can find new content, either Edpuzzle originals or making your own using our screen recorder, etc. But if you hit quiz, you are able to access an editing page that's going to look very, very familiar. And I can show you what this looks like directly in the platform in a bit. Where you will be able to chain multiple choice, open-ended questions, add a timer on that should you choose, and also toggle on and off the leaderboard functionality. Those are all these different options down here. We're just trying to make things super, super customizable so you can use this however you'd like. Again, entry and exit tickets, it's a great way to do that, and just make sure doing a quick check for understanding at the beginning or end of class. And here we are at question 2, another multiple choice. True or false? Teachers can upload a PDF to Edpuzzle as a slide and add questions to create a lesson. I think this one's a little bit short. It might have been 20 seconds. All right, and that is true. We've also embedded feedback into this one so you guys can see what that functionality looks like. So if anybody chose false, you would have seen this flip over on your end and say, it's true, a PDF or a slide deck that you've saved can both be transformed to an Edpuzzle learning moment. If you hit true, you would see, yes, a PDF or a slide deck that you've saved can both be transformed to an Edpuzzle learning moment. So that is a really great way of introducing immediate feedback in response to a question. And now that we have the ability to allow students multiple attempts, that is a great way of doing a quick learning moment. And then they would be able to go back and do the video, slide deck, quiz again until they achieve mastery. All right, I'm going to show responses here. We're looking good there. And let's see. I'm so sorry, guys. I totally cheated. Eva, you're still #1 here. Great work. And Edpuzzle student projects. Great function where students can upload their own video or record a video or select one from YouTube. Again, we have all of our aspiring YouTube stars in our classrooms nowadays. They love being able to take that content. I believe your students are using Chromebooks. Can everybody give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down on that? Perfect. Okay. So they can record on their Chromebooks using any of that built-in software, or of course using our software to do so, and send that video your way. You can create an assignment where you are saying, hey, I want you to embed at least 5 questions in a 5-minute video. At least one of them should be open-ended or can be multiple choice. You can provide some pretty specific instructions on how you want that to be structured on their end. But it's fantastic because not only are they putting thought into what they're going to say, what they're going to teach on that video, but also what do they want their takeaway points to be, because they're embedding questions. They're going through the same process you would in creating your own content, but they get the added benefit of learning a little bit something extra along the way too. So to create a student project, again, it's in that nifty Add New button. That is where everything has been consolidated. You'll see that at the end of the list. You would just select student project from the dropdown, and then you are going to be able to choose their video source. So you have complete control over that. If your district does not want students using YouTube, just uncheck that box, and you can give them the option to record themselves or to upload a video. Yes, thank you, Jess. I forgot to change that. We just swapped that on our website. So that is on the left-hand side of the screen, and I can show you in a bit if we don't run out of time. But we are almost to the end of our slide deck here. So some ideas for student projects. They're great for, in English classrooms, analyzing a poem. Because they can make a video of themselves reading that poem and then pause at certain thinking spots and ask questions, or include notes, links out to other resources, etc. They can demonstrate how to solve a math problem. This is great if you have any students that might be having difficulty processing a new concept. You can also create an assignment for them to show you how they're working through it. And that's a great way for them to be able to take the time they need, and also not having to take that necessarily out of classroom time, because that can be a homework assignment. Recording an experiment, explaining the findings and conclusions, or a TED Talk. I love seeing these student TED Talks that we've had pop up. I have had teachers I've worked with send me examples before, and it is just so delightful to see. And they really get engaged with their presentations as well. So I love seeing this suggestion, somebody run with it. Learning playlist, it is going to look a little different than what we had before if you were familiar with our old playlists. Now when you're grouping assignments, you want to go ahead and you could either from your content as before, click on a number of videos and create a playlist, or my personal favorite is you go ahead and click on one of the pieces of content that you want to add to that assignment, and then you will have the ability to add it from that assignment page. You can reorder it. You can lock whether you want it to be watched in a particular order or not. And again, I'll go in the platform and I'll show you what all of these functions look like in just a moment. And here is what a little screenshot of what that looks like. You would just hit the Add Activities button, and then you can add as many as you like, remove any. You can set it as a lesson thumbnail so they know what that particular one is about, etc. And just like any assignment, you will be able to set the start date and the due date. It's essentially like assigning any other individual assignment, but as a group. All right. Here are all the options you would get as well. You will, as with any video, you have the option to prevent skipping, to speed up the video. These are the newer functions that you might not be familiar with quite yet. The gamification functions, the leaderboard, and the time limit, which we're seeing today. And accessibility functions are available on absolutely every piece of content, and the multiple attempts as well, which you would set for the entire assignment. Now going through real quick, we have our last question. This is an open-ended question. So you will have the ability to type out your answer, and then we will look at results in 1 minute and 23 seconds. So on this next section, I have a few slides I want to go through. They are jam-packed with resources. So what we'll do is I will quickly probably go over them over the next 15 minutes or so everybody can have that full 15-minute break. If you want me to deep dive into any particular parts, if we have a few minutes at the end, I will gladly do so, but I want to leave some time for questions too. But we've got, 8 or so folks in here, so please ask any questions you like throughout. We also have Jess and Nick who can help out in the chat as well. Ten seconds. All right, let's take a look. These were our tests, but truly for all the things. Let's see, if I have a multiple day absence, I can leave work in a playlist. Absolutely. And it's great for, say, a choice board sort of function as well. For a multiple day absence, you can chain a number of activities, and students, if you don't lock it in a particular order, can also go through and choose what they're going to work on that day with the sub. Also good for students with multiple day absences, definitely. I could use our YouTube playlist on grammatical concepts that relate to our Edpuzzle so students can review and study more. Yes, yeah, that would be fantastic for that. I would like to explore having students solve AP Chem problems as a group. Ooh, and then present their step-by-step work to the class. Yeah, that's fantastic. So that would be a great example of using student projects for them to create their sort of video assignments that you could then assign back out via a learning playlist. To assign student projects or independent student work, have students watch videos, read short passages with a short quiz or follow-up questions as they go at the end. Yes, for checks for understanding. Fantastic. I love all of these. Thank you, guys. So winner is Eva. We've got Sonia right behind and Juan right behind there. Well, thank you, guys. On your end, you are going to see a button that says submit. So when you are in your classrooms using this with your students, you just want to make sure that they hit submit at the very end. I'm going to go ahead and end live mode, but hitting submit is how, just like with any videos, you probably come across this before, a student would sort of complete that video and send their gradebook information to you. It's very cool. We have exactly 15 minutes, so let me dive back in here real quick. And maybe we'll take our sandbox time to poke around in the platform and show off what that looks like directly. Because I really want to get to the UDL, because that's why we're here, right? We want to talk about how Edpuzzle can be used with the framework of universal design for learning. This is a brand new slide deck for us, and we're very excited. It is all linked out and fun. So we've got our guidelines here. This is what we're going to be going over. This top section is for the sandbox, but you are welcome to poke around, especially if you're not going to be here for part 2. But I'm going to head over to engagement. So any of these links are clickable, but keep in mind that they are clickable if you are in slideshow mode, but not if you are just looking at the individual slides. So if you're having a hard time, just pop into slideshow mode and it should pop right up for you. So I'm going to head into engagement. So we've got a number of features here listed out for access, support, and executive function. And I don't think we're going to have enough time to kind of dig through all of these links, but anything that has a line underneath it is a clickable link where you can learn more about that function. So access, welcoming interests and identities. We just did a lesson with live mode, so I'm sure you guys have a lot of ideas as to how this could really be used. I love the ideas about embedding student projects as well, because that is a great way of bringing different interests into what you are discussing as well, different viewpoints, and letting the student really control that narrative. In terms of personalizing content, recording yourself is a great way to do that. I also like to do a shout out for audio notes, because that's been a long-lived function in Edpuzzle, but not often used. And if you were taking a video from YouTube and embedding an audio note in it, the students are hearing you. And that is just a great way to get them back in, engaged, and make it more relevant, because it's not just content, it's your content that you are assigning. Using it as a choice board, we kind of talked about this a bit, allowing the student to control how they are going to access and take in that content. But we've got a lot of different functionalities that can really be used to let the student make their choices, which we all know gets them a lot more engaged in what you are teaching. In terms of support, live mode, again, a great way to foster collaboration, because you can not only have a discussion just via the content that you are sharing with the class, but using the leaderboard and talking about those, the answers to the questions, because you have the option to show those answers or hide those answers. You can have really good in-class discussion as well, because you get to see all those different answers that people are giving, and they aren't going to be labeled with names. It's anonymous. They will just be able to share that in sort of a safe, anonymous setting, and you'll be able to have that discussion about the answers you're getting. Adding a note. So notes are great. I mentioned audio notes, but that is also just a write-in function. You can add something to share with your students, whether that is something you've written up that is relevant to the content, something that you have linked out to maybe another assignment, an article online, etc. But it's good to also let them know the purpose of the video. And I think that's what audio notes are great for too, or written, whatever you choose. But to say, hey, we're going to watch this today because we are learning about this concept and this video does a great job of sharing that. And then using the feedback option, which I pointed out earlier in our live mode function, with a quiz and with a video, especially as they're popping through there, that is going to just provide that immediate, oh, hey, this is right because, or this is wrong because. You might want to go back and review part of that. An executive function. So diversity and inclusion is one of our courses that we have that we highly, highly, highly recommend. We have a ton of courses made for teachers, some of them by teachers as well, and that is one of them. A lot of them are in professional in the platform, and I can show you what that looks like if you have a few minutes at the end. I realize that's becoming a very long list of things I want to look at the end. But if you log into your Edpuzzle account, you'll see professional on the side. We've got a ton of free courses in there, and it's a great way to do some learning, not just about how Edpuzzle functions, but about a number of different topics such as diversity and inclusion. Also, having students record self-reflections via student projects is a great way to gather information, not just on the learning side of things, but on the feeling side of things. And we also have an amazing SEL alignment guide that's linked out here. Some of this is our content, some of this is not, but we, a couple years ago, just wanted to sit down and gather all of these and align them out as well. And this is just a wonderful big document for elementary and secondary with some resources that you can share with your students. All right, let's go back. Any questions on engagement while we have a sec? All right, we're down to the wire. So I apologize if I talk way too fast. All right. Access. So we're talking about perception here when we are going into representation. Link graphic organizers. So personally, I love like Padlet for this, but there are a number of Google tools as well that you can use. Just a way of getting that information down. I was just talking to a teacher who uses these wonderful mind maps for that as well, where he is introducing concepts in Edpuzzle to students. He's having them sit down and map it all out. And he's using, he introduced me to a platform called emojikitchen.dev, where students were creating their own emojis, because you can sort of smash up different emojis to represent that. And that feeds into our second point too, and why I also wanted to give a big shout out to emojikitchen.dev, because in the notes function, you can actually include different images, including emojis, and you can provide those visual clues along the way in your video or quiz to sort of link back to the importance of what you are learning in that lesson. And also, student projects is a great way of feeding into this as well, because you can give them time to research and study a particular topic that they are interested in. So you can assign out a topic. You can also provide a list that they can choose from. Again, choice boards, giving students that agency and that ability to control what they are doing and how they are learning is just so important to them. In terms of support in our representation pillar, embedding mathematical formulas and images is a great way to share these concepts. And of course, we have a beautiful equation calculator built into our platform that you can use in any media type, but also, again, notes and images you can share. I know some teachers even popping GIFs in there, which kind of feeds back into our perception pillar there. Just anything to sort of grab attention, bring focus back, or help feed into the concept that you are applying that day. Language, Edpuzzle originals, really lots of vocabulary Edpuzzle originals. We've got poetry Edpuzzle originals. Some of them are not available for your district, but quite a lot of them are. And actually, we can get you a list of everything that is available to your district right now from Edpuzzle originals. But if you're not familiar, if you haven't poked around in there yet, that is our content. It is standards aligned, beautiful videos, questions are all embedded. We just wanted to provide a really excellent resource that you can grab and go with very easily. I'm going to hop over to executive function. Live mode is going to keep coming up here because it's just an excellent way to hit a lot of different things at once. You know, get eyes in one place. Oh, Sonia, absolutely. I would highly recommend poking around in there, and I'll try and add another slide to this with that list so you can have it later as well. Yes, live mode, one of our other self-paced courses. So I had called out another one of them earlier, the diversity and inclusion. We have one on project-based learning as well. So that is a great way to sort of bolster up your skills on helping students show off their learning as well along the way. So if you ever need some optional PD, I would highly, highly, highly recommend checking that out. And you'll be able to see it. I didn't click on this last one, but here is what that would look like. So we try to give you information on how long each of these sections is going to be, and you'll actually, for this one in particular, be logging in as a student to complete it. So a little bit different from professional. We're still working on getting everything from the student mode and into Edpuzzle Professional, so you don't even have to log out of your teacher account to do any of these learnings. All right. I am going to take our last few minutes to hop back to action and expression. Oh, yeah, slideshow. All right. So access, flexibility is so important to students. So Edpuzzle playlists or those grouped assignments, being able to, especially if you don't lock it, make choices on how they want to access that content and in what order. Means a lot to students, and it means when they have that agency, they tend to absorb quite a lot more. And offering audio support functions. So year before last, we did a big push for including more ADA-friendly functionality within our platform. And audio support functions is above and beyond the one that we hear about the most because it has been so helpful for not just students that might have difficulty seeing or reading, but also English language learners, world language learners. We've got a lot of teachers using that to share how you would say something. But we now offer it not just for open-ended questions, where we've had it available for a while, where students could respond using their voice, but you can also record yourself reading aloud any of the questions and answers on a multiple choice. You can, of course, use that audio note function that's also been there. And of course, open-ended questions. Any students can respond by speaking as long as you toggle on that function when you're creating that note or question. Support. The screen recorder is a great way to communicate that with students. And during our live mode earlier, it came up absences as well for students. That is a great way, recording any lessons to get that content back to those students that have multi-day or extended absences. Bonus here, I mentioned this earlier, communicating with parents using OpenClass is perfect for that. So screen recorder, you can pop that open, record your 3-minute video. Hello, welcome to the beginning of the year. Welcome back from winter break, et cetera, and then assign that out to students right away. You don't need to track who saw it, but it is a very effective way of sharing that out and communicating with parents very quickly. And then, of course, our accessibility feature is a massive support function. We've got the ability to speed up videos. That's highly, highly requested by a lot of students. We have our new audio functionality. There's quite a lot that has been added to the platform in the last couple of years to try and make this platform suitable for every single student. And executive function, playlists, great way to let them have that agency, allow them to choose how they want to access that content while doing it at their own pace as well. And no matter what, you will receive those that data and those analytics on your end, so you can see exactly how they watched the video, when they watched the video, how long they took to watch the video, if they had to rewatch any sections, and while playlists, sorry, not playlists, slides and quizzes are new to us, and I keep saying video, you're going to have these for a lot of these different functionalities now as well. Whew, 1 minute left. We blew through that, and there's a few things I skipped on some of these slides. You know, we've got best practices tips on there. This is truly jam-packed with a ton of different links. So I highly recommend, especially if you're not going to be in part 2 with us, to grab that bit.ly, and I will go back to it right down here, and bookmark this slide deck. You will have access to it. I'll try to add that list of Edpuzzle originals that are available to your district at the moment. But yeah, thank you guys. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to let you go for your 15. If you're not going to be here for the sandbox in 15 minutes though, Jess had shared and I might have linked it, feedback form that Amber wants us to share out with everybody. So please share feedback on how you think the session went. Grab the bit.ly, and hopefully we'll see you back here in the sandbox in 15 or so. But thank you guys so much. And don't forget to sign in if you didn't. We'll have another sign in link for the sandbox later today too. Hey, Patricia, how's it going? Oh, you're on mute.
Really well. I'm here with my little buddy. I don't know if you can see her there.
Yes, I was going to ask if I could see her closer. Thank you. What's her name?
Kyleigh. She's named after Kyleigh Smith, the singer from the 1950s.
Nice.
She's a shelter dog and my best friend.
Mine's a rescue too.
They're the best.
They are. Mine's almost 13 years old though.
Oh
I just got her
goodness.
groomed and so many white hairs popped through. I was like, no.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's getting old for a dog.
Mm-hmm. But she's a little Chihuahua. You know, they mostly live off of
Yeah,
speed,
they're
so.
longer lived dogs.
She's my security pal.
A Chihuahua.
Yeah. Chief of security around here.
Oh my gosh. Actually, before people get here, can I ask you a question or two?
Yeah.
So on Edpuzzle, when I do a live with the class, some of the students will miss questions. And then what happens is we close it and then they just go back and change their answers so they get 100%. Is there any way to stop them going back and doing that?
Sounds like you might have multiple attempts on.
I don't think so. I don't even know that I have an option to control the attempts. I just exit the live.
We do have multiple attempts function now. So when you go to assign something, you'll see that option at the top and you can choose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or unlimited.
I
so if
see
you
that
don't want them to redo it.
I see that when I assign an Edpuzzle, I can give them like 2 or 3 attempts. But when I do a live, I don't see that.
It works the same. So a live mode is any assignment that you just choose to do as a live mode. So you have to assign it first.
Okay, so
you'd still have
I
that
think
option.
I know what you're saying. Then I click 1. I'm sure I wouldn't do anything other than 1 for a live. But yet, even after I've exited the live, the students are able to go back and change their answers.
But you said at the beginning that some students don't join. So they don't join, they watch everybody else do it, and then they go in and they have the right answers?
No, they're joining, and I can see them getting it wrong, but then I can see them on my Go Guardian going back and changing their answers to raise their score.
Okay, so it could be prevent skipping if they're going back into the video, or although if you did not have multiple attempts, preventing skipping wouldn't much matter because their response, they would just get the 1. So it sounds like it might be. Here, I'm gonna go into my content and grab a video so I can show you what that looks like. Let's see, assign. So I will just put it as part of this class, or I'll do my demo class. And This is
Sonia, I
where,
think Sonia's right. They're waiting to submit so they can change their answers, what she just said.
once responses have been input, they shouldn't be able to overwrite them. Jess, is there any
Yeah.
change I'm unaware of?
They can.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I have not heard of this, but
Yeah.
it is something, Patricia, if you want to email me, I'll drop my email in the chat and I'll forward it to support. They can look more closely into your specific live modes to see if there's something that's like not toggled on.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So if you could provide a specific example, we'd be able to see too if multiple attempts were on. And if that's not it, then we'll start looking for other answers too. I'm going to stop
Thank you.
sharing this. I'm going to stop sharing overall, Jess, since you probably want the screen.
Yep. Sonia, is there a way that this new information or any updates be shared with all of us? Do you mean the information that we're going over right now? The slide deck information? I'm going to drop the slide deck in here again.
Okay, so talking about live mode and those answers changing.
Oh, once we get an answer from support. Gotcha. Yeah. Patricia, once you reach out to me, would you be able to reconnect with Sonia?
Or if you have her email, if you could CC her on that first email to Jess.
Or I can CC you. Yep, perfect. Patricia and Sonia, can you drop your emails in the chat so we can make sure we get this into support?
Thank you.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Basically, this sandbox is a choose your own adventure, and we are here to help as you do so. So if you go ahead and go back into the slide deck that I'm sharing, and you make sure you go into slideshow mode, go to this roadmap right here. So this is where you get to choose your own adventure. Are you familiar with Edpuzzle? Yes, great. Then you can go into these left slides here, best video practices and ways to use Edpuzzle, Edpuzzle and UDL webinar, Edpuzzle coach course. So all of these are linked here, whatever you're most interested in. Most of these would take up all of the time. So for example, the Edpuzzle and UDL webinar, if you're more interested in learning about UDL.
All right, Marcos.
This
so
is a
what are we
15-minute webinar. So you can watch half of it and ask any questions. You can save this for later and do something else. But just note that all of these go into different links. You can look at best video practices and ways to use Edpuzzle. This brings you to a Padlet and live mode tutorial for those of you who haven't used live mode in the classroom, tips and tricks, differentiating with Edpuzzle. That's a 14-minute self-paced PD on differentiating. So this brings you to all of these tabs here. If you are not familiar with Edpuzzle, you can then go into these steps on the right-hand side. So you can learn how to create an account, find a video, and then edit and assign your video. I think most of you at the start of Kyleigh's session in the deep dive said you were familiar or at least had an account. So most of you might be doing some of the things on the left, and then we are here to help and answer questions as needed. One thing that I do want to just go ahead and share that I want to make sure everyone is aware of, because I think it's really exciting, is one of our newest features. So like Kyleigh said in the deep dive, in the add new section, this is where you'll find that you can put your video in, your quiz, your slides, or your student project. So it's in that the top left-hand corner of the Edpuzzle screen. One new feature that we have with quiz mode is actually AI generated questions. So you can now upload a PDF or a worksheet, and then we will create questions for you. So I just want to highlight this. It's really exciting. I've been using it. So let's go ahead and look at this. This is creating quiz. When I click on import questions, I'll choose a file to import. I have a worksheet here about literary devices. You can choose 2 pages to import for quiz mode. And when you click on import, Teacher Assist is going to work its magic. This is a new feature that we have. If you've heard of Teacher Assist before, this is our newest Teacher Assist mode. And now I have a quiz that was created for me based on the pages that I just entered from that worksheet. So this is something that I wanted to share in the SLAM, but I didn't have enough time. But I want to make sure that you all walk away with the knowledge that you can use our AI, our Teacher Assist, to help you create quizzes based off of worksheets that you import. But I'm going to stop talking. Like I said, this session is Choose Your Own Adventure, and I will be here to answer questions, to help as needed. So make sure you just go into that slide deck, choose your own adventure, and feel free to go off mute and share what you need.
I'm afraid I have another question.
Go ahead.
I assign a lot of Edpuzzles and I give them a due date, and it doesn't seem to matter because they can do it a month later. So the only thing I can do is delete the assignment, delete the Edpuzzle. Is there no way to like enforce a due date with them?
So you can, if you have a due date, how are you assigning them? Are you connected to an LMS?
I'm assigning them through Google Classroom.
Through Google Classroom, yeah. So the assignment will always appear and it'll just say past due. So your students, if they're completing it past that due date, it'll still be an assignment that appears, but you can grade them as incomplete if they don't complete it by the due date. Is that what you mean?
Well, I don't know. Well, Edpuzzle is integrated, I guess, to our grade book, so the grade syncs over. And I can't always tell if they did it on time or they did it late. So I'm having to just delete the Edpuzzle to stop them doing it a month late, because they'll do that every chance they can.
Yeah, I don't
The
know.
easier way to do that might be to log into Edpuzzle itself and go into the gradebook for the assignment. Because it's much more obvious in our platform when something has been done past due, and then you just be able to hit 0 if you want to clear that.
And if I hit 0 there, is that going to sync over to
It'll
Google
sync back. Yeah.
Oh, there's an idea. I never thought of that. Okay, I didn't know I could change their grades that way. That's helpful. Thank you.
Okay. I don't have any students to share that with.
I'm going to see if I can change their grades right now just for a test.
Juan, you have a question here. Is there a way to use this with TCI or textbook for history? Can you elaborate on that question?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, I was curious because I use Edpuzzle all the time, but mostly I use it as I link it to YouTube stuff that I like. But TCI, which is the company that has our history book, the textbook itself is decent, but it has no questions. Like in the old days, you always had your history book, and at the end of every like little mini sub chapter, whatever, it had like 3 or 4 little equivalent of like check for understanding questions, which we could either use raw or we could, you know, restate them and say, okay, look at these questions. We're going to do these instead. But TCI doesn't have anything. But I was wondering, but they do have access to a digital version of the textbook. So I haven't found a way, but then I haven't spent that much time trying. Is there a way if I said, create a link or cut and paste, here's the 4 pages I want you to read, and then of course I could have it generate the questions, or I could go ahead and grade those questions?
So there's a couple of options here. One, you could screen record the digital textbook. Okay. And embed questions into that screen recording. So you can have the digital textbook up in a video and then embed questions as needed. Do you know how to screen record with Edpuzzle?
No, I don't, but I don't think that's a feature. I understand what it would be. I'm really trying to get them to
do you want it as like a worksheet?
I want it to look when I go to, here's the 2 pages I want you to read preloaded. And then either I insert them at intervals or I say, read paragraph 1, answer this question. So it's a little more traditional format.
Well,
Kyleigh, is
we've
that what's
got
coming
more
out in our new
features
features?
coming.
Yeah.
But what I would do for now, you said you have access to a digital version of the textbooks?
Oh, yeah. The kids have access. I have access to TCI, go chapter by chapter, etc.
If you can get those pages in PDF format, you can upload that into the slide deck feature. Okay. And then you would be able to have them read a page, answer questions, read a page, answer questions, or whatever order you'd like to do. So Jess will show how that works now. So you just upload a PDF.
So here's going to be, I don't know if it will. I'm going to double check that. I don't think TCI has it as a PDF. I think it's like a digital thing. They
probably wouldn't, because that's highly shareable. What I might recommend is screenshots. Just make sure to make your content private so it doesn't get shared out.
Okay, so that was a question I was going to ask, right? When you said so when I screenshot things, typically it's taking it as though it's a picture, not text.
Yes. So then you would. I'm not sure what device you're using.
I'm either on my teacher Chromebook or I'd be on whatever the computers we have at school. Okay.
I'm most familiar with Mac. Apple's got me good. You know, I've got everything.
Yeah, the day a district gives us all Macs.
Yeah.
Gives I have a probably equivalent about a $300 Chromebook that they gave me 5 years ago pre-COVID, which still actually is functional. Oh, yeah. But
you could grab those screenshots and put them into Google Docs, and then it's very easy to download that as a PDF.
Okay. That's what I was going to ask.
A little bit of an app smash, more steps than we'd like, but it is very possible to make that happen.
Okay, so that would be it. So if my thing is always what my experience has been, and again, I'm not overly techie, but you know, I can kind of, was that when I import anything that's a screenshot, the programs can't read it because it's just to the screen. It's just a picture, if that makes sense. Because remember, I'm screenshotting it, so it's essentially like a JPEG. So I'm dropping a JPEG into something that's a bunch of text. So if I ask Edpuzzle to read it, it can't read it because it's essentially it's a picture, not text.
I'm going to take a screenshot right now, and we'll kind of look at what that looks like together. Jess, do you mind if I share my screen? Thank you.
Go for it.
Okay, so I've got a Google Doc up here, and I just took a screenshot of all of us. So apologies, it's all of our beautiful faces are going to pop up here. So if I drag that in here, you are able to adjust it in any which way as well. So if you wanted this to take up the whole screen, you certainly could. And Google also has, what is it, Google Draw as a function as well that is much more image friendly, but Docs is easy to chain multiple things together. So that's why I'd recommend it. And
Oh, I see.
you would be able to just go into download PDF. And of course, because I haven't adjusted this size, it's going to look like this, but that is, you would be doing full like images of a page that would be much more suited to this format than rather the landscape picture.
Well, and you are correct that like you can't just put a picture in there. It has to be converted to PDF mode.
Say the screenshot that you have right there, how in the middle of it, it has your text, right? That thing. Is there any way to take that text from that screenshot and then have it give me a question based on those?
Yeah. You know what, a better example would have been if I took a screenshot of just that text, because that's what you would want to do. I was just taking a screenshot of what was on my screen at the time.
I was just looking at the text. I got that. That's okay.
Yeah, so you would have that like 8.5 by like that kind of paper style. Here, I can take another of something.
Because if I were to take a screenshot of the textbook, which would be reasonable, because I probably wouldn't want them, the kids can't, in a half hour, 45-minute period, they can only read probably equivalent about, let's say 5 paragraphs that are like text paragraphs. If I said, okay, I want you to read this, say it's Civil War, whatever the topic. Read these five paragraphs on the Civil War, and then have it generate like one question per paragraph. So that's my little quick and dirty check for understanding. And then at the very end, I might do an open-ended thing. So of the 5 paragraphs, what was something interesting you learned? Or give me 3 facts you've learned from the 5 paragraphs. Something that's kind of exit tickety kind of stuff. Because I find that within the 45-minute period, Edpuzzles in general have been a godsend, because even though we don't use the text, I always tell the kids, every day all you do is look at a screen this big. I have given you the luxury of now getting to either look at your Chromebook, which is about 10 of these big, or the monitor, which is about 1,000 of these big. And you're training for it every day, because for 8 hours, 10 hours a day, you look at a screen. So I'm going to have you look at a screen for another 20 minutes, read something or watch something. A lot of times they're the, what do you call them? The crash course type stuff on.
I love crash course. Yeah.
And many teachers have already created them. So a lot of times I can go in crash course Civil War, whatever. So it's just whatever the topic is. Sometimes the questions are already there. Other times I may take a video I was doing something on like Native American or Bering Street Bridge, all that kind of stuff, land bridge in the early part. And I found some great YouTube videos that were kind of documentary, but they're down like 5 to 8 minutes. Imported them, and the questions were great. And then I might tweak the question a little bit here and there and edit it, but essentially it was pretty good. The thing I couldn't do was the using the actual textbook. However, YouTube, there's so much material that I would just take the topic and go, okay, so pages 5 to 10 would be this topic. We're going to watch a crash course. And I found too that in live, I would say 80 to 90% of things in live mode. Because even though the kids say, oh, let's do it on our own. I'm like, all right, we've tried that before. And I'll just let them do it for one day. And I go, how did that go? Oh, you have to do it with us, because they can't focus, they can't pay attention. But that has worked really well. I guide them through it. And then kind of piggybacking a little bit on what Patricia was saying earlier, and that's that in this case, because I know that they probably won't do them later, and that has been a thing where I get on their case. I'm like, all I need you to do is watch TV for 10 minutes and answer some questions. And they can't do that on their own, because even if they don't have their phones, or they'll just be screwing around. But if I do it with them, you still are screwing around. But then like, wait, what was the answer? What was the answer? I was like, all right, ask your neighbor, we're moving on, click. And I just keep moving. And some kids, and in that case, for the kids who are just not paying attention, maybe they answer 3 out of 10 questions correctly, either because they missed them or because they weren't paying attention, they got them wrong. Those kids, I can reopen it for them later, and I'll let them, that's kind of a way. But also the live protects. So I'm not exactly sure what Patricia's thing was, because I'm familiar with when the kids kind of mess around and try to answer things after the fact. But during the lives, once I've closed it, the kids can't submit until they go back to the questions that they missed. I mean, by that I mean didn't answer on time, because I'll usually give them about 20 seconds or whatever it is. I'm like, okay, 3, 2, 1, and then I skip and we move on to the next question. But I haven't found a way to do that with the actual text. But it's so, I find so many YouTube things that are so close to what's in the text that I don't feel like the kids are missing out by not reading page 3 and 4, because I'm like, oh, well, the Civil War was X. It states the same facts in the YouTube. And I keep my Edpuzzles. It's rare for me to do an Edpuzzle over 12 minutes. Mostly 7 to 10 minutes is the sweet spot. And that's with me guiding it. And it'll take us, a 7 to 10 minute video usually takes us realistically between 25 and 30 minutes. Because I have to give that 30 minutes. And then sometimes as a teacher, I'll throw in like my own stuff. Like, okay, so see this question. So actually, this is what, you know, like think of like baseball or gymnastics. You had the color. So here was the question, then I'm throwing in a couple extra little quick details, or maybe a kid asks a question. Oh, actually, that's a good question. So we take an extra minute or two to discuss that. And then, okay, let's keep moving. And then if there's time at the end of the period, I either give them that time to finish up if they were screwing around. Okay, go back if you didn't finish, answer the questions. Or there's maybe 10 free minutes at the end for them to catch it, whatever. Sometimes I'll make up a secondary assignment that may be through Google Classroom, like a doc, and say, okay, there's also going to be a short assignment we can just be writing separate, so it's not an Edpuzzle. They have to type it. But yeah, I was curious about ways to do the PDF thing. So maybe I can find, because there are some good worksheets out there as well that I found, whether it's Teachers Pay Teachers or just stuff I find or I create myself. So let's take that angle. If I create a Google Doc, but I want them to do it through Edpuzzle instead of Google Docs, I want to like guide them through it in a video format. I saw also that there was, and this is going to be something I was going to mess with, but since we're talking, the kids can do video responses or audio responses to a question. So if I ask, because I was thinking about it, because I in my head I saw these two little girls who sit by my desk and are always chit-chatting and trying to get on social media, and I was like, so if I said with a partner or two, whatever, or where they work together, answer question 1 or 2 in some format, whatever it is, interview each other and ask this question, something, but they have to do it audio wise. Is that very difficult on their end? Most of my kids are pretty good at TikTok stuff, so I'm pretty sure they could handle it probably better than I could. But
yeah, not at all. The audio responses is fairly intuitive. The students would just be able to, so it has to be an open-ended question is yes. the main thing to know. You can ask any question. The teacher can ask any questions via audio, open-ended or multiple choice. So just know that you always have the option to record your questions. And then students can always record for open-ended, and it'll just have the option to click on the microphone and record. So it's fairly intuitive for the students to be able to answer via audio. And that's a great way to use Edpuzzle.
And can they do that as a video as well? I'm assuming, but I
in student projects, that is where students have the ability to screen record themselves. And so let me just show you, I'll share my screen again so you, if in case you're not aware of.
No, that's new. So I was going to ask about that project. So I kind of like that idea.
Okay, so if you go back into Edpuzzle and you go to add new, this is where you'll find that student project feature. And so this is where you allow students to upload their own video or choose from YouTube and embed questions. And the right-hand side, when you click it, so you can either allow students to find a YouTube video, which if you do click that, it's within Edpuzzle. So it's still filtered via YouTube Player for Education. They're still saved videos for students to use. They're not going into YouTube to find those videos. They're staying within Edpuzzle. So just like to note that. You can then have students record themselves if you just want to use that option, or you can have them upload a video. So if you're wanting students to create a video of themselves and use their screen recorder, then you would click on record yourself, and this is where you would type in your subject, goal of the project, and instructions. I would always say be very specific in the instructions. You know, if you want them to embed audio notes, if you want them to embed open-ended questions, students are creating their own Edpuzzle video. So, you know, give them some, like if you would like a note, include a note to start and end the project or the video. Embed 3 open-ended questions. So, you know, you can get as specific as you want in those instructions. And then once you assign students, create their video and it comes back to you. Something fun to note about student projects is you can add that video to your content folder. So it becomes a video that then exists in your content folder, and you can share student videos with the classroom.
Oh, okay.
So let's say this is a student video. You can actually have a full day where students are sharing their own videos in live mode. So instead of like back in the day when we used to do presentations with like cardboard, you're actually having students go up and share their live mode video, and you can have that be the way that you have presentations throughout the classroom.
Okay, thank you. I'm thinking my first week back is usually like when we'll experiment with stuff to like iron out all the glitches and see what goes wrong. And then usually after that, that's cool. That's kind of my.
It's really fun. And I wanted to show you something else too. I know we've been talking a lot about PDFs. Something that I know that our science teachers use it. So let me see if I can find something here. I'm going into Edpuzzle Originals just to show you an example of this. But something that you can always do with our videos is have videos start. Of course, this one isn't one of those. Start with a worksheet. And so let's see, here we go. So you can always embed notes at the start of your videos and then have a worksheet, a downloadable PDF that is available immediately. So if you want students to create, to answer a worksheet at the end or to look at the PDF at the end, you can just link it as a note for now. So we do have new features coming out where this is going to be a little easier to include PDFs, but just kind of a workaround is have a note, click here to download the worksheet for this lab, and then here's your worksheet that students have that attaches to the video that they're watching.
Oh, okay. Now, can they answer, how would they answer that?
So having it done this way, it's not going to be there. They won't be answering that worksheet digitally. That would just be something for them to download on the side and open with Google Docs and answer. So if you're wanting them to answer the questions via the PDF in Edpuzzle, I would do what Kyleigh had stated before and have a slide, like include it as PDF and do a slide deck. But I just wanted to note that you can always have it just on the side for video.
You know, it seems like just watching you do that, that might kind of accomplish what I was talking about earlier, was if I screenshot the textbook, like it's only going to be like 1 page max. So I would then drop that in as a note and then say, read the page, and then I could go ahead and add the questions. I think that works, because then that's when I generate the questions, right? I do the PDF, and then that's when I say add or edit, whatever. Okay, because for something like that, I imagine I'm maxing out. Usually, it's going to be 1 question per paragraph max, or maybe 2 questions plus 1 open-ended. After reading these 3 paragraphs, what have you learned? Or such and such happens, or you're that kind of simple, but I can tell that they've read or not.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a great exit ticket.
The kids are funny because they're doing, they think that the Chat GPT is helping them. And I go, what do you guys, I just want your answer. Like you're getting, and plus of course, when they get Chat GPT, it sounds like kind of pseudo-academic speak. And I was like, not one of you could say that sentence on your own. So that's how I know it's made up. The moment there's academic, I go, there's academic language in there. Like, you don't speak, that's university level, peer reviewed level. Like,
I know.
I go, you're in
Yeah.
8th grade. You guys are still going 6, 7 all day. I'm supposed to believe that you can write these. Come on now.
Yeah.
But that's been, and when I can do a simple question, we're doing Tall Tales, Paul Bunyan, that kind of stuff the other day, right before the break. Is something simple. And they're like trying to like chat GPT, who was Paul Bunyan? I go, guys, I just gave you literally a 2-minute like Hanna-Barbera video from back in the day on Paul Bunyan. All you're supposed to do is watch a 2-minute cartoon and tell me, what do you think of Paul? I mean, it was like some little.
Yeah, they're making it harder on themselves.
I go, you guys are chat GPTing this? Just, I don't know. So I just thought it was funny, but I'm trying to create some questions now where it really is more work to try to do your own thing, to try to do chat GPT than it is to just give me a 10 words.
Yeah.
I just need to know that you watched the video. That's it. And then,
Totally.
and then I talk with them about it anyway as follow-up. So
use our quizzes. Do a quick quiz. Check to do a quick exit ticket. That's how I would do it. Is you can make those quizzes as short or long as you want, but if you just want to do like 2 quick questions to make sure they watched your 2-minute video, that's how I would check for understanding.
Yeah, that's kind of what I end up doing is I've done a few where I think it was the Paul Bunyan stuff where I just did like one Paul Bunyan, John Henry, Johnny Appleseed, and stuff like that. And I think it was Calamity Jane or Annie Oakley. And it's like, but where the video is only about 2 minutes and then they have to answer a couple questions at the end. So it's kind of keeping it simple. But I was trying to do it as with the textbook to say, how can I go ahead and import the screenshotting is fine because I don't need them to have really access. I just need to know. And then I can create the page. Okay, that's perfect. Thank you. That's really helpful.
Of course. I'm glad. Any other questions?
Well, I don't know. I have one, I think. I'm trying to make quizzes or a quiz on here, and it's asking me to upload PDFs, and I keep finding PDFs. Like I'm trying to just make a basic quiz on telling time in French. And whenever I upload the PDFs, it keeps saying teacher assistant is unable to help you, try again. And I keep trying again, and I'm not getting anywhere.
So our teacher assist feature is new and it's pulling from previously used quizzes and worksheets. And so if that worksheet has never been used before within Edpuzzle, it's not going to be able to generate those questions. And so just know that within, over time, any worksheet that you upload is going to work better in our teacher assist mode. But if you just want to create a quiz manually, then you don't have to import that PDF. You can just go into create quizzes and have your questions in quiz mode and create the quiz yourself instead of using our AI.
So wait a minute, you're saying I would have to type in all the questions and the answers? I couldn't just upload something?
If our teacher assist isn't working to generate the questions for you, then yes, you would manually create your own quiz, which is the option on the left instead of importing the PDF.
I also tried copying a quiz from Wayground, a simple 10-question quiz, and there's no way to cut and paste or import that.
I don't think we would be able to upload Wayground into Edpuzzle.
Even if I cut and paste it into a PDF, the 10 questions and answers?
So are you, let me go.
I just tried to copy 10 questions, 10 answers to see if I could make a quiz, and I don't seem to be able to do it.
Or if you go into quiz mode, and instead of clicking import questions, if you just click on, hold on, add new quiz.
I went to add, right.
And then you'll click on multiple choice or open-ended.
Right, I did that.
And then you're not able to paste questions in there?
No. Let me try it again. Let's see. Quizzes. Add new.
And then click on multiple choice or open-ended, whichever question you want to add.
So assessment is what I click next, right? Okay. Multiple choice. So good grief. I would have to cut and paste each question individually. I couldn't do all 10 at once.
No, you would have to do them individually.
And I would have to cut and paste the question and all the answers. That's, I think, I don't know.
To create your quiz. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So it's the same, it works the same how like any slide deck, like you're importing anytime you have to embed a question, you're putting that question in yourself. So like if you have a video and you're embedding questions into a video, you're embedding those multiple choice and open-ended questions and then putting the answers in there as well. So it works the same as our video mode works.
Well, thank you. I was hoping that AI could make some questions for me.
Give it some time, try it again like in a month, and the system's going to get better and better at generating those quizzes from PDFs. It's just going to take a minute to get started. Yeah. Anything else? And Patricia and Sonia, I have your emails, so I will be sure to follow up with our support team for you all.
Well, I think you've answered the question. I'll just try going to the grade book and seeing if I can just give them zeros. But then again, can they do it again and override that 0?
They shouldn't be able to.
We'll find out. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I think you've answered it. I'll try that.
Students are so clever, Sonia. That is correct. They figure out ways to do things.
For Patricia, this might be a small thing because because I'm going all the way back between Google Classroom and Edpuzzle as well. Something that it's not going to totally help. It just occurred to me that in Google Classroom, when you set the due date for the assignment, the very least, if say you're doing the assignment on a Monday and you say it's due Monday, if they try to turn it in, so if they turn it on Monday anytime, they'll still be able to get away with it. But say they try to turn it in 2 or 3 days later, it would still say in Google, turned in late. So that part, you would see that so even if Edpuzzle does update to the gradebook automatically, you'd notice that grade came in after it was due. So it's not a super great workaround, but it would at least let you know that it wasn't done the day it was due. It was done at least the following day. But if they turned it in, say, 5 or 6 o'clock that night, they could still game the system. But if it's turning it in 2, 3, 4, 5 days, at the very least, you would see turned in late. And then you could then decide to make that a 0 or take off late query or whatever your grading system is. So
that's exactly right. Yeah.
Thank you.
You should all have that slide deck. So please go back to those best video practices and ways to use Edpuzzle. That UDL webinar is great if you have the time to watch it. The code course is amazing. It was just updated this year. I just went through it myself. If you haven't figured out Edpuzzle or used Edpuzzle, you have those steps to create your accounts, and you can always go back to the UDL guidelines as well. So save the slide deck, save the links. But while we have the time, let me know if there's anything else that I can help with.